Hello, Days of Our Lives fans. Welcome to your daily dose. Covering Days of Our Lives from the 16th, October 16th to the 20th. Let's get to it. What's popping in Salem? All kinds of stuff. Okay, so Monday we open up with Kate, and she is still just whining and complaining so much. We are sick of it about, why don't my kids love me? Why are my kids leaving? Because, Philip left and Lucas is in jail. She's just missing her kids, I guess. But they're kind of running it in the ground. So, yeah, we get it. So, it's also Abigail's birthday Monday. So, everybody's got feelings going around. No doubt, Chad. He's in his own little world. He does confide in Stephanie. It's Abigail's birthday. She is just very understanding and patient with him. It's been 16 months since Abigail died. Still seems a little soon to me for Chad to be moving on in a relationship. Ooh, that sun is bright. It is a sunshiny day here. Anyway, we've got that going on. We all miss Abigail. Oh. This is my Days of Our Lives bracelet. See the little hourglass there? I give them away on my channel if you're a subscriber. No two are identical. Alright, so Trip gets stabbed by a patient that he just assumes is someone coming off some bad drugs or something, and they cut his arm. What we later find out is this wasn't some freak accident. We find out that Clyde Weston, who is currently in prison for the murder of Abigail, which, we know Gwen did it. I don't care what the writers say. They're wrong. And anyway, he's the one that put this hit out on Trip. You're thinking, what does Clyde Weston have against Trip? There's plenty of things to have against Trip. Anyway. So what we find out is, meanwhile, Lucas also has a run-in with Clyde in the prison. And Lucas is also emotional this day because it's Abigail's birthday. And he's telling Clyde, how do you sleep at night? And he's like, I told you, Abigail wasn't my target. It just, she was just wrong place, wrong time, pretty much. Him and Lucas and Clyde get into a disagreement. Downright argument. Looks like they're going to come to blows. And Lucas is like, I'm not afraid of you. And he said, son, or maybe he didn't say son. He said, you better watch what you're saying. You know who you're talking to? I got people on the outside and I can hurt you without touching you. So, that's a threat to his family. And Lucas still didn't seem to give a crap, man. He's wanting to, everybody wants to just beat the crap out of Clyde. Well, what we also find out is that Clyde is the one who rescued Susan Banks from the burning car. He rescued her and he took her to Edmund. And his plan was this. He wanted Edmund to, keep her hostage or whatever, which he did. He wanted to use that as leverage to force EJ to work with him again and run drugs for him. Way, way back in the day when Elvis did a lot of illegal stuff, and he still does some, not run drugs, but so EJ had turned him down flat. But when Ava and Harris jumped into action and rescued Susan, it put a wrench in Clyde's plans. So he went after Trip on purpose to send Ava a message. He then calls Ava and summons her to the jail. And then she gets there and he explains to her how she messed everything up. And she's like, she didn't know any of this. She's like, I wasn't trying to mess anything up for anybody or anything. Finding Susan cleared my own name. And he told her that since she messed everything up, that she was going to now have to be the one to run his drugs and work for him. And she's like, no, she doesn't want to do it. And he lets her know that, that wasn't no accident what happened to your son. That was just a warning. She said, so if I don't do what you want, you're going to kill my son. And if I do, then I'm risking going to jail and stuff again. He's like, yeah, it's a win-win. So, ultimately she's going to have to agree to this. I don't think we've seen her actually agreeing, but she got the gist of it. Let's see. Harris and Ava are getting closer and closer, and I really hope that they can, have a relationship. I would like to see them together and happy. They both got checkered past. They're both risky. I think they're a perfect match for each other, really. He didn't belong with Hope. Anyway, what was I saying? Okay, so otherwise, back at the ranch, so I say, Sarah ends up talking to Xander about Susan being alive and how shocked she was, and she doesn't think these horrible things against Xander, and I swear she was displaying her feelings to him and stuff, and I thought they were going to kiss. And then she gets a phone call from Justin telling her that Xander is taking her to court to get full custody of Victoria and is going to trying to prove her unfit mother. She flipped out, just when her and Xander were about to work things out, started yelling at him and stuff, and, they had a big disagreement, and he left. So we don't know what's going to happen with all that. Then we move on to Tuesday the 17th. Chad's still reeling from Abigail's birthday. He spends Abigail's birthday in the cemetery, and just talking to Abigail and stuff. I seen some stuff in going through my stream and things, some information. They keep saying something about Abigail coming back. That's a resurrection from the dead that they're not going to be able to pull off. I'm sorry. She was slaughtered. Back when? AKA fake Teresa. Anyway. EJ and Chad have some bonding moments where they're talking, and it is Abigail's birthday still from Monday. And, Chad admitted he has a lot of anger still toward Clyde, and he thinks all the time, he thinks that he wishes he would have been able to go on and just kill him had the police not showed up when they did. And EJ said he had similar rage thoughts, which his rage thoughts were basically about Ava and Xander, but he said that he regretted not putting Clyde out of everybody's lives when he had the chance. So they're bonding a little bit, and they hug, and like I said, we have found out that Clyde was the one that rescued Susan, and of course he had an ulterior motive. Let's see. Yep, I already said that. Talia ends up telling Jada and everyone, she's leaving. She had a run-in with Belle outside the pub. And Belle says, look, we're in the same town. Will you just stay clear of me? I don't want to be your friend. I don't want to talk to you. So, she started crying, and she said it's just time for her to go. So she did. She left town. It was very hard on Jada, but everybody else was glad to see her go. Oh yeah, one thing EJ was saying is that yeah, he still had those bad feelings against Ava, even though she went and did rescue his mother. That didn't make up for everything she had done prior to that. Okay, so is that everything for Tuesday that's important? Okay, so now Ava and Harris have got to find jobs, employment. We take off Wednesday. Jada's crying in Rafe's arms. She hates to see her sister leave town. She wants her to stay here and, try to work things out. We take up a lot of time on Wednesday with Abe goes to visit John, and he's looking for Belle because he tells John, that he wants a divorce because he's not the same man that Paulina wants him to be. At the same time, Paulina's visiting Marlena, telling her, how stressed out she is and just different things. John is able to convince him, don't get a divorce, just chill out a little bit. And Marlena's able to talk to Paulina and say, quit trying to make Abe be who he was in the past and just accept him for who he is now, which is good advice from Doc. Alright, so they did a lot of talking on that. So EJ is talking to Gabby and Stefan, and they're telling him about their plan with Dimitri, how they were gonna blackmail him for his share of the money and blah blah blah, and now they're empty-handed or whatever. And he said, so Vivian shot him because he was getting ready to kill both of you all. What made my nephew snap, I wonder? And that's when they told him about the little blackmailing deal that they got nothing out of. So right when they were talking to him, I was already thinking, EJ, you need to go talk to Dimitri yourself about those shares. So that is what he did. He went to the hospital, took Dimitri some ice cream. Of course, Dimitri and Leo, who were just acting silly in the hospital, contemplating an escape, they were not too friendly to EJ, but he told EJ, how they made him sign over their shares or they would let him die. So he was pretty angry about that. Alright, my Wednesday and Thursday kind of ran together, so I'm not sure where one starts and the other ends. EJ ends up calling Stefan and Gabby out. And they said, well, look, what do you think you're calling us out about? That's exactly what you went to the hospital for, was to try to get the shares from Dimitri. Now, don't lie and say you haven't. I'm wondering what's happened to Gabby and Stefan. They act like they're just some broke-ass bitches, that we got to have everybody's money and we got to have all the shares. Yes, that noise. Okay, so I don't know. It's very unappealing to their storyline. But since Gabby's leaving earlier, she's going to be leaving any time. I'm waiting for her last day. They might as well take her out on a stupid note so we don't miss her. I've always loved Gabby. She just cracks me up. Of course, we had a lot of Brady, Roman, and Tate all talking about his big-time dishwashing job and I'm going to teach you how to pay for your bills and all that crap that nobody really cares about. So, now, I think this runs into Thursday. Yeah. So, Stefan and Gabby now are coming up with a plan of how to get Christian shares because they're not so sure she's down with them anymore. So Gabby comes up with the idea to kidnap Rachel. This is just dumb. And Stefan kind of talks her out of that, and they decide definitely Rachel is her point where they can somehow use Rachel to get what they want from Kristen. I wouldn't mess with Kristen. And so they're deciding they need to bring Brady in on it and try to help him to get custody of Rachel, but then they're going to dump Brady once they are able to get the... I don't know what kind of plan they're going to come up with. We haven't saw that yet. But they think they're going to be able to back Kristen into a corner where if she hands over the shares, they help her keep Rachel, and if she doesn't, they help Brady get Rachel. I don't know what their plan exactly is. It's disgusting, if you ask me. Whatever it is. Let me see here. Holly is a snotty little witch, man. I do not like her at all. She very much acts like she's privileged, and anyway, she's furious with Rachel. Rachel and Kristen come back from shopping. She comes down, just getting in Rachel's face, furious at Rachel because apparently Rachel used her Taylor Swift shampoo, which was very expensive, and she had to beg her mother to buy it for her. And Rachel's like, I didn't. And she said, it's almost gone. I know you did. So Kristen has to kind of bust them up a little bit, and she sends Rachel upstairs, and she offers Holly a job. She's like, how would you like to have your own money? And you wouldn't have to ask your mother. I'm going to replace your shampoo, but in the future, wouldn't you like to have your own money? And she's like, I don't need your money. Because her mom's going to marry rich EJ, so she's got all the money she needs. And she's like, so she wanted to hire to tutor Rachel in math. Rachel's having trouble in math. But instead, she's like, well, I don't need your money, but there is something you could help me with. There's a boy. And she's like, oh, and you like him? And she said, no, I love him. So she tells him the boy is Johnny. And Kristen kind of laughs because she's like, isn't he a little old for you? And she said, no. So, I don't know if Kristen's going to be able to help her with that or not. But that's what she wants to tutor Rachel instead of money. She wants to be able to get Kristen to help her influence Johnny to like her. So, we'll see how that goes. So, meanwhile, back at the hospital, and I'm so bored with Leo and Dimitri in the hospital room. Oh, I love you. Oh, here, let me feed you ice cream. Move up. Keep it moving, man. I'm sick of them both. And I guess they're both going off the show. At least we know Dimitri is. And he's been such a wimp. He's like a psychopath. Very calm when he cuts your throat. I mean, when he was holding that gun on Gabby and Stefan, he said, at least you all should know that you all will make very beautiful corpses. That's some sick stuff right there. So, yeah, he's a nut. I love his mom, Megan. I love Megan. I don't like him. Okay, so they're back at the hospital, and Dimitri has talked Leo into trying to help him escape. So Kayla comes in to examine him, and next thing you know, Kayla's handcuffed to the bed. Leo's dressed up like a nurse, and they finagle things away around where they're able to escape out from the hospital. So they are off, but I don't know what they're going to do because Gwen took all their money. Well, hey, she's over there with Alex. Just go over there and ask her. She's pretending to be Teresa, and it's not working out. Okay, so now we go to Friday, which is today, the 20th. And what do we got? I've got on here Gwen and Alex because that's who they are, right? It's actually Gwen and Ben, but it's Teresa and Alex. And once again, as soon as she starts talking, she's got that accent. I cannot look at her and even pretend that she's Teresa. When her and Ben are talking, it makes me realize that Alex is really Ben and she's Gwen. And Alex is doing really well at Alex, but Gwen, I wish they'd just take her off the show. It's not working. Nicole runs into Erica at the hospital while she's waiting for a prescription, probably prenatal vitamins, I don't know. And she asks the girl to get her hard copy of her genetic testing because she never got it. And I'm wondering what's going to be on that? Because the copy Sloan gave her was altered, but the hard copy, I don't think it is. Justin ends up talking to Sarah and about her case with Xander, and she's like, well, there's no way he can get her, is there? And he says, well, you know, this is the second time you've lied to a man about paternity, and you do have your mental illness. And she's like, I only have mental illness because I was drugged. And he's like, yeah, I don't know how much that matters. This Constantine, who's staying with Maggie, who is one of Victor's friends, something very interesting happens at the end of Friday's show with him. But anyway, he just cooked a big meal for Maggie and Sarah, and because Sarah's all upset about Xander trying to take Victoria. We'll get back to that. Melinda shows up to talk to Sloan and tells her she's having a hard time because she's running her own law firm now that she got fired from DA. She's having a hard time finding lawyers to help Sloan with an adoption because of Sloan's defense of Colin, and he's her brother and all that jazz. Okay, so Sloan tells her we have got to have a baby, and she's like, don't worry, I will find you one. Okay, all of Friday there's a lot of just long conversations in between people, and I'm not going to gunk up a video with that. You'll just have to watch it. I tried to get the highlights. The biggest highlight for Friday, I want to tell you this. Constantine tells Maggie he's going to go out for a walk around Salem. She asks him, you want me to come with you? And he says no. And, you know, Maggie's just mesmerized by Constantine. He's just really blessing her, you know, makes her feel closer to Victor. So we see him knocking on somebody's door, and whose was it? Teresa's. And she opened the door and she said, what are you doing here? You were supposed to I forget exactly what she said. So what is the connection with Constantine and Teresa Donovan? This is some Gwinery right here. If this was the real Teresa, I'd be getting fired up about this storyline, but every other sentence, she's got her accent, and it's just so blatantly not Teresa. I mean, you can't expect her to look identical to Teresa, although she does, you know, look similar to her, but that accent really throws it away. Anyway, that's a wrap from October 16th to 20th, and I will see you in Salem.